This week, I'm back to competing in singles and doubles, and it's clay season. I'm going to be running it back in the doubles with my friend Yunaki, where we absolutely clutched up last time. Competing in some tough matches in the singles qualifying. And starting off my clay court prep right with one of the world's top 50 ATP pros. So let's see how it all went. So, Muratoglu practice session with Alexei jumping in to the deep end on the clay. Now, had this opportunity, I went all the way out to Muratoglu just for a couple of days to film with one of the world's best players, which didn't end up coming through as one of the 1 vs 100 series, but nevertheless got a session with Alexei on the clay. Now, this was obviously a kind of baptism of fire.
I was very nervous before the session. Haven't hit in 9 days, let alone on clay, let alone against top 50 player. This session's gonna be dead. I wanna be dead. Don't even speak already. Clay's so physical, man.
It was super tough to jump straight in against one of the world's best players, but I was loving the movement on the clay, the new racket giving me a lot more pop, but it also made me realise why I low-key hate this surface a little bit. It's super difficult to play on, you've really got to give a lot of energy for each shot, and especially when you're not too used to it, it can really be taxing after a couple of rallies, and it was definitely going to be something that I knew I have to play a couple more practice sessions on before I play a match, otherwise I'm going to be cooked.
You can't fault me for effort. You can maybe chat about my tennis, but at least my effort's there.
That's all we can ask.
We then jumped into some volleys. Essentially for this session it was an extended match warm-up for Alexei. He had also come back from Miami and so wanted to just get a feel for these courts, so it was a perfect session to kind of get me started. You can see the trajectory on his serve was absolutely insane, and you can see how much the ball kicks up as well, so a good kick serve's going to be super effective on these courts.
This is like fun and not fun at the same time. I'm really enjoying myself. I'm struggling. Want to get to return his serve.
And of course it's not every day you can return a 130 serve from one of the world's best players.
Great bounce. They're bouncing like this here, imagine Antalya practice courts. Overall, verdict I still hate clay, but I hate it a little bit less. Maybe in a couple of years I'll learn to love it. Still prefer hardcore.
And the next day I was on a flight straight to Antalya to get prepared for the clay court block. And in the first week I was just playing doubles and singles the week after.
Right guys, so I just picked up my rackets here at the tournament. All of the strings are a little bit wonky. When you play some of these future tournaments, the stringers aren't that great. I'm having a look at the practice courts now. Yesterday was completely rained off. I'm gonna warm up Yunaki this morning, but the state of these practice courts, it doesn't look like it. I think another day of rain potentially, so yeah, look at these courts. No one's playing on these. Damn.
Right guys, so we out here, day 3 actually, but first day where it's sunny. Playing doubles this week, just to get used to the clay. The main man, Yunaki, who we played with here last year, just feeding the ball a little bit. Haven't played in 2 days because of the rain, so a bit out of shape. 2 matches today if we win, so it's gonna be physical.
Now, it was always a pleasure playing on the practice courts here in Antalya. Lots of bad bounces, but it had improved a little bit since last time. Yunaki representing the Dunlop, which is a nice change since last year. And with it having rained literally the first 2 days that I was there, it was actually nice to get on court. Also guys, if you're interested in what I get up to day to day at these events, what I like to do off the court, all that good stuff, then go and add my Snapchat. There'll be a link in the description, and my username is Mischker, so go and add me on there, and I'd really appreciate it.
Clay court's kick serves are so overpowered.
So our opponents for this first round doubles match were to be the seed number 4. 2 Turkish players with a combined ranking inside the world's 800 players. They've won multiple titles here in the past, and I actually played against them in last year's event, but we managed to get the better of them last time, so we were hoping for a similar result. Now, me and Yunaki started off pretty decently, trading breaks I believe, and as you can see here, winning our service game to go 2-1 up at the beginning of this set. However, things began to take a turn for the worse as these guys began to up their level at the beginning of this set, and so we knew we really had to stay locked in to try and stay with them. You see Yunaki absolutely tanking that forehand, going for a little bit too much with that ball down the line and giving away a couple of break point chances here and giving away the break to go 3-2 down. Definitely not the start that we wanted. However, I was quietly confident that we could mount a comeback. And with me on serve here at 4-2, this game was going to be absolutely crucial in this first set. Some good depth from me on the forehand there. Really just trying to make them play and overcooking it slightly. New racket giving me quite a lot of power, which was a little bit different on these clay courts. So definitely the right way to miss, but definitely not how we wanted to kind of start this set. And a ridiculous ball there onto the line at 30 all, causing us to go down against 2 break points and an insane return cross, forcing us to go 5-2 down. And that's all it takes sometimes. 1 or 2 points at a crucial moment in the set, and suddenly you're down 2 breaks and they're serving for the set. And we do end up losing the first set, but I said to Yanaki, look, we've got to regroup here, try and find a way back into this one. They were really putting some good length on those cross-court balls, forcing us back a little bit. So I suggested to him trying to come both forward to the net a little bit more, have the net player poach a little bit like this, and try and mix it up as much as possible. A little bit of a relaxed volley there from Yanaki, causing us to lose a crucial point at the beginning of this game. But with that being said, a chance to break here would be crucial. With some solid serving, our opponents weren't giving us a chance to come into this match. Now, I fancy myself as a bit of a double specialist, let me just say it like that. And so I was hoping that me and Yanaki could put in a good result this week. And so I definitely didn't want to go out in the first round. So I said to Yanaki here, let's up the energy, let's try and find a way back into this one. But with that being said, it just felt like one of those days. Our opponents were playing some super solid tennis, and we weren't really able to find some of the solutions, and we ended up losing in the first round to some good opponents. It definitely wasn't the way we wanted to play. But with that being said, gave me a couple of extra days to get prepared for the next week, and here we are on the Sunday of Quali's day for some singles action. You can see me here with a match warm-up, 20 minutes of hitting, 10 minutes of volleys, 5 minutes of returns, and 10 minutes of serves. Really getting some good prep in. It was raining quite a bit this week, so I hadn't actually had too much court time. So we're going into this first match a little bit underprepared. My opponent was Martin Rosens from Latvia with an ATP ranking of, I believe, around 1400 in the world. 600 places higher than I'm ranked. It was definitely not an easy first round. Now this tournament here in Antalya was extremely stacked for some reason. There were players in qualies ranked 650 in the world, which I just find absolutely insane. But with that being said, at the beginning of this match, I really wanted to try and put a lot of balls in court, not go for too much. Really try and find a way of, asking some questions of my opponent, seeing what he's good at, what he's not good at, and I think also kind of, giving myself a good base of which to play off. Sometimes if you go a bit too big at the beginning of the match, you're almost forced into this pattern of, oh, I'm missing, I'm not making enough balls. Whereas sometimes if you make a lot towards the beginning, okay, maybe you're not going for flashy winners, but you really feel like you're in the game, you're working hard, you're having these long rallies, and then you can begin to go for slightly more when you gain that confidence. And as you can see here, I get a couple of break points at 2-1 in the beginning of this first set, which is absolutely crucial to try and take them here. You can see him going into my backhand a little bit. I was definitely trying to defend more out of that side, but I end up forcing the error and taking the break here early in this first set. Now the forehand was definitely working for me here. I felt like my movement was a lot better, especially than last year. I remember watching my matches back. The backhand's also improved, so I felt like a little bit more of an oiled kind of machine at the beginning of this match. Now I remember playing here, like I just said, last year. The movement was nowhere near where it's at now. And with that being said, I was super happy. Even just watching myself back now, a lot of the things that I've been working on in practice finally paying off. And hopefully that's going to translate into some better results as this year goes on. They might not be straight away, but it takes a little bit of time to see those results kind of come to fruition. This point here at 4-3, absolutely crucial. Really trying to get 30 love in each game. That's a massive percentage difference in terms of breaking from 15 all to 30 love. Now you can see me here quite a lot trying to get on that forehand as much as possible. You know, it's obviously the shot where I'm going to be able to do the most damage, generate the most spin and power. So definitely trying to go forehand into his backhand and then find the time to go line was working really effectively. And also just having a little bit more patience. I feel like that's something I've learned over the years a little bit, is just having a lot more patience in these qualies matches, especially on clay. You're not going to hit flashy winners like on the hard courts. So again, on this break point, just trying to hustle as much as possible and see if I can force an error. And with an insane serve and volley combo, he takes it here to 4-all in this first set. And these games here are going to be really important. And a solid drive volley takes me up 5-4. I really wanted to try and break him here. This would be a great opportunity at the end of this first set to just sneak a break and take the set. You can see me hustling as much as possible, just trying to reset the point with that forehand, getting a little bit fortunate with that net call from him, and I get my first set point at 5-4 here. And I do take the first set, a very good confidence booster here. Now I wanted to take a little bit of that momentum into this second one. As you can see, taking that first game on serve, a good confidence boost, and now really trying to break early on, using that forehand as much as possible. Coming forward, I was trusting myself a little bit more here, and that was definitely going a long way in these points. A very solid point there from my opponent, doing a really good job of moving the court, but I was proud of myself for being patient, you know, asking the question, playing some really good quality balls, and sometimes there's not too much you can do. I think in the past I've stressed myself to try and do something or find a way of winning the point, and I think sometimes just saying, look, I'm just going to lock it down, really be still aggressive, but really try and force my opponent to play some good points is going to really make a difference. And as you can see here, getting a chance to kind of bring this game to a couple deciding points, and this point here with my opponent's ad, I really wanted to try and get it back to juice because I felt like the momentum was shifting if I could win this game. And the chip return serving me well as I do get the break here at 3-1. One thing I particularly found during this match is that I don't know what it was, my concentration, my tactics and my energy levels were all much more consistent than usual. I did one or two things differently coming into this match. I had a bit better of a hydration and a fueling strategy. I had a little bit less expectation since it was on clay. Honestly, I was expecting to kind of just lose in the first round and fly home, if I'm being really, really honest. And I think that definitely helped to just take the pressure off a little bit. And, you know, I'm playing much more free tennis. I have a clearer mind. Each game, I'm not necessarily overthinking too much. I hadn't hit any double faults so far already. So I definitely think that made a massive difference and was really kind of helping me here in the second set specifically to just enjoy the moment and just enjoy the battle on clay. I haven't played too many matches in the last couple of months. It's something that I'm going to try and do more of in the coming weeks. But I definitely felt that almost that lack of experience on the court or lack of time on the court was almost a positive thing, and I think that that's the same with everything in life. If you can turn something that might be negative into a positive, it can go a long way. And a chance here to try and serve it out. I go down 40-love in this game. A couple of good points from my opponent, one bad double fault from myself, but as you can see here, getting a match point here at 5-3, and I just said I'm going to not miss, lock it down and see if I can force the error. And I do, and I take my biggest ATP ranked win of the year. Also guys, if you enjoy these types of videos, it would really help if you click that subscribe button. We're on the road to 250k, so every subscriber helps. And now let's get back to the video.
Yes guys, so got the win. I came into this match with like zero expectation, like zero at all. Had a couple of desserts yesterday. I was thinking I'm ready to go home just because this clay court week was so strong. And I kind of came out here with that mindset. With that being said, I think that might not just be one of my best clay court matches, but one of my best matches. Mentally, staying ahead, not giving in the break. Just really happy with that performance, staying on him the whole time. Next round, I'm playing a good friend of mine, Marlon. He beat Kyle Edmund last week, so he's on good form and he's a bit of a clay courter. But I love a good test, so going to be now about recovery. Body's feeling a little bit sore after that one, so going to get some recovery in. But I'm really proud of myself for that win. I'm happy I pushed through, and yeah, let's go qualify this week.
Do you ever just wake up sometimes and feel like you've been hit by a bus? That feels like me right now. I think my first clay court match taking a bit of a toll on me, but I'm excited for day 2. I'm very, very pumped.
On a match day number 2, I enjoyed a nice breakfast and of course a mandatory coffee.
What better way to start the day?
Yes guys, so about to go on. I'm looking forward to this match. It's going to be a grind. I'm going to have to suffer, but that's what clay court tennis is about, so very looking forward to it. I might get my arse handed to me, but that's part of the process, so see how well we can do.
My opponent, Marlon Vancan, has 38 ATP singles points, so I have to beat him and another player just to get into the main draw where I have the chance to play for 1 ATP point. How insane is that? And bear in mind, there's no prize money. Now, as we jump into this match, he's coming off a very, very good streak of wins on the clay. Last week, he beat Kyle Edmund in straight sets, who was formerly number 14 in the world, trying to mount a comeback, still playing a very high level. And let's just say on this day, it was one of those days where I'd rather forget it. Now, with that being said, I tried to play the best possible tennis that I could, but my opponent, mixed with the fact that I really don't love clay too much, led to a reasonably fast match where in every single game, I didn't really feel like I was doing too many bad things, but my opponent was just somehow getting the better of me in every single game. It's not to say I didn't win a lot of points or I didn't have many chances, but yeah, definitely not one of my proudest achievements. But we still had some pretty good points. Now, was I pleased about the fact that I was getting bageled in this match? Definitely not, and it almost felt like the longer this match went on, the more I had kind of no chance of getting games. I had break points, I had game points, but every single time Marlon will come up with some great shots, or honestly, I would make an error, which definitely wasn't a very good feeling. But having played this match and now watching it back in hindsight, it wasn't actually as far away in level as it felt, and I think in a couple of games I should have just trusted myself a little bit more to kind of come forwards and be aggressive, and I have the level to be able to play against these types of players. But when you lose it in your head and you begin to get frustrated, that's when the real match begins to turn in favour of your opponent. Now, does it feel good to lose 6-0, 6-0 in the second round of qualies? Definitely not. Does it happen to the best of us? Yes, Dimitrov just lost to Diminor, love and love in Monte Carlo. But with that being said, we're going to use it as fuel for the next week.